All right, so today we're diving deep into canine separation anxiety. Sounds like maybe you've got a furry friend who thinks out of sight means out of existence.
Yeah.
We've got a mountain of your research here,
Yeah.
and trust me, we're going to unearth some serious gold to help you and your pup. Let's face it, nobody wins when your dog thinks you've abandoned them forever each time you grab your keys.
You're absolutely right. It's more common than you think and can be truly heartbreaking for both the dog and the owner who comes home to a chewed-up couch. But seriously, this isn't just about a bit of whining when you leave. We're talking about genuine panic. It's like that feeling you get when you think you've lost your phone but magnified 100 times.
Ooh, yeah, that cold sweat panic. I hate that.
Mm.
But, okay, so where do we start with actually helping our dogs?
Well, first we need to understand that it's not about punishing the behavior. That just adds to their stress. Think of it this way. Imagine being terrified of spiders, and someone keeps throwing spiders at you. Not helpful, right?
Definitely not. I think I'd need a whole separate deep dive into therapy after that.
Hmm.
So what can we do?
Let's start with the foundation, creating a safe haven, a canine sanctuary, if you will. Think about what makes your safe space. It's probably comfy, familiar, and predictable. We need to recreate that for your pup.
Okay, so not just tossing them a random chew toy and calling it a day.
Exactly. We need to be strategic. For instance, a crate can be great, but only if your dog already sees it as a positive space. If they haven't been crate trained, suddenly sticking them in one when you leave will likely make things worse.
So how do we actually make this amazing canine sanctuary?
Let's start with scent. Leaving a piece of your recently worn clothing can work wonders. It's like having a bit of you there even when you're not.
So my sweaty gym socks could actually be useful for once. Who knew?
Or maybe go for a t-shirt instead. But you get the idea. Familiar scents can be super comforting. Also think about sound. White noise machines or calming music can help mask outside noises that might be triggering your dog's anxiety.
That makes sense. I know I blast music to drown out the noise of construction. Maybe my dog needs their own playlist. What else can we do to make their alone time less, well, anxiety-inducing?
Keeping them mentally stimulated is key. A bored dog is more likely to get into trouble. Puzzle toys are great because they make your dog work for their treats. It's like a mental workout.
And it's probably way more entertaining than watching paint dry, which is what I imagine dogs do when they're bored.
Probably. And of course, a good long-lasting chew toy can also be a lifesaver. Just make sure it's safe and durable. You don't want any choking hazards.
Got it. Safety first. But speaking of departures, how do we actually leave the house without turning our dogs into a puddle of stress? It feels like just picking up my keys sets off alarm bells.
Right, and that's where pre-departure prep comes in. We're talking about shifting those associations, creating routines, and basically becoming ninjas of chill. Think of it this way. We want to make leaving less of a big dramatic event and more of a see you later alligator kind of thing.
Okay, so no more Oscar-worthy goodbyes with tears and dramatic pronouncements of love.
Exactly. Keep it low-key. A calm "I'll be back" is more than enough. And here's a pro tip. Practice short departures.
Short departures, like running out to grab the mail and coming right back.
Exactly. Start with really short intervals, like 30 seconds, and gradually increase the time. This helps your dog learn that you always come back, building their confidence and reducing anxiety.
So we're basically teaching them that the door isn't a portal to another dimension where they'll never see us again.
Precisely. And while you're at it, try desensitizing them to your pre-departure cues.
Desensitization. Sounds intense. Are we hypnotizing them?
Not quite, but it does involve a bit of mind magic. Think about the things you typically do before leaving: picking up your keys, putting on your shoes, grabbing your bag. We want to break that association between those actions and your departure.
So, like, I should just randomly grab my keys and dance around the house.
Well, you could, but maybe just pick up your keys, put them down, and go about your day as usual. Do this a few times a day. The goal is to help your dog realize that keys don't always equal goodbye.
So we're playing mind games. I'm into it. But is there any way to make those cues more positive? Like, can we actually train our dogs to be excited about us leaving?
You're on the right track. That's where counter conditioning comes in. It's a fancy way of saying we're going to create positive associations with those pre-departure cues.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How do we do this magical counter conditioning thing?
Simple. Pair those cues with something your dog loves, like a super delicious treat or their favorite toy. So when you pick up your keys, immediately give them a treat. Over time, they'll start associating those keys with good things instead of your departure.
So we're basically turning those anxiety triggers into signals for a party. I love it. But let's be real, some dogs need a little more help than just a party in the form of treats. When should we call in the professionals?
You're right. Sometimes we need to enlist the help of the experts. If you've tried all the basics and your dog is still struggling, it's definitely a good idea to consult with your veterinarian and a certified dog trainer or behaviorist.
So it's like going to a specialist for your dog's emotional well-being.
Exactly. Your vet can rule out any underlying medical conditions that might be contributing to the anxiety. And they can also discuss options like calming supplements or medication if needed.
So it's not just about training. It's about making sure there's not something physically going on too.
Absolutely. And a certified trainer can work with you to develop a personalized training plan tailored to your dog's specific needs. They've got a whole arsenal of techniques and can guide you on how to implement them effectively.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've got our safe space, our ninja level departures, and our team of experts. What else can we do to help our anxious pups?
Let's talk about the power of exercise. A tired dog is a much less anxious dog. Make sure your dog is getting plenty of physical activity each day, walks, runs, playtime, whatever gets their energy out.
So we're talking a pre-departure workout routine, like a quick game of fetch to tire them out before we leave.
Exactly. It's like taking the edge off, helping them settle down more easily when they're alone. But it's not just about physical exercise. Mental stimulation is crucial too.
Right. We don't want them turning into couch potatoes when we're gone.
Exactly. So those puzzle toys and long-lasting shoes we talked about earlier, they're not just for fun, they're also excellent mental workouts.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. We're basically aiming for a well-balanced, holistic approach to their alone time. Exercise, mental stimulation, and a safe haven. It's like creating a doggy retreat.
You got it. And you know what else can help? Relaxation techniques.
Relaxation techniques like doggy yoga or meditation.
Like doggy yoga meditation.
Uh-huh. Well, maybe skip the spa day attire, but the concept is similar. Gentle strokes and light pressure on certain points can release tension and promote relaxation. There are tons of resources online that can teach you the basics.
Okay, so I'm adding certified dog masseuse to my resume. What else can we do to help our pups chill?
You've probably heard of pheromone diffusers for dogs. Those can be quite effective too. They release synthetic versions of calming pheromones that mother dogs naturally emit to soothe their puppies.
So it's like bottling up that feeling of safety and security they get from their mama. That's amazing. Exactly. It's like aromatherapy for dogs. And speaking of which, certain scents like lavender and chamomile can have calming effects on dogs. You can try using a diffuser or even just a few drops of essential oil on their bedding. Just make sure to do your research and use pet-safe essential oils, as some can be toxic to dogs.
Good point. Safety first. But what if we've tried everything? The safe space, the training, the relaxation techniques, and our dog is still struggling.
In some cases, medication might be necessary to help manage severe separation anxiety. This is definitely a decision to make in consultation with your veterinarian, as they can assess your dog's specific needs and recommend the best course of treatment.
So it's like the last resort,
Mm.
but sometimes it's the best option for the dog's well-being.
Exactly. We want them to live happy and fulfilling lives even when we're not around, and sometimes that requires a little extra help.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive into canine separation anxiety, what are some key takeaways for our listeners?
First and foremost, remember that separation anxiety is a real fear response, not just a bit of naughtiness. It's important to approach it with understanding and patience.
Right, it's not about punishment, it's about helping them feel safe and secure.
Exactly. So create that canine sanctuary we talked about, filled with familiar scents, calming sounds, and engaging activities.
And don't forget those ninja-level departure skills.
Absolutely. Downplay those exits and arrivals, practice those short departures, and use counter-conditioning to turn those trigger cues into something positive.
And of course, exercise relaxation techniques and even professional help when needed.
You got it. It's about empowering yourself with knowledge and tools to help your furry friend thrive.
Beautifully said. So to all those dog lovers out there facing this challenge, remember, you're not alone. With a little patience, understanding, and a whole lot of love, you can help your dog conquer separation anxiety and feel confident even when you're apart. It might take time, but it's totally worth it.
You're right. Just remember, every dog is an individual. What works for one dog might not work for another. Be patient, be observant, and don't be afraid to experiment until you find what works best for your furry friend.
And on that note, we'll leave you with this final thought. Imagine a world where saying goodbye to your dog doesn't involve stress and chaos, where they wag their tails as you head out the door knowing they've got a cozy haven and a day filled with fun and relaxation ahead of them. It might sound like a dream, but with the right approach, it's totally achievable. Until next time, keep those tails wagging and those hearts full.